It is a journey through the Bible with Mukhwana Isaac. In our previous program, we looked at Moses, his character, and his death. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Today, we look at Israel entering the promised land. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, Moses, my servant, yes, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, you and all these people, into the land which I am giving to them, to the people of Israel. We read this in the book of Joshua chapter 1 verse 1 and 2. Joshua was now a leader of Israel. It was now about 1200 BCE, before Common Era. It was an excellent time for Israel to invade Canaan. For more than 300 years, Canaan had been an Egyptian province. But there was now danger. There was now no danger of being attacked by the Egyptians, for Egypt had become weak and it no longer had a stronghold on Canaan. The other great empires were all either weak and dying, or else were just becoming strong, beginning to grow, with plenty of troubles of their own to keep them busy at home, with no time to look after the affairs of Canaan. You see, when you become easy, when you become busy, the Canaanites themselves were hopelessly divided into a number of smaller city-states, which, though strongly defended, had not got the strength that they would of course have had if they had been united as a nation. God had chosen the right moment for his children to come to the promised land. On the other hand, we must not think that the Israelites were able simply to walk, yes, straight into Canaan and ask the Canaanites to live quietly. Hey, the book of Joshua, which tells us of their entry into Canaan, does give the impression that the Israelites simply swept through the country, having victory after victory, and then settled down to live in peace. There is much truth in this, but to get a picture of what really did happen, we need to read what the book of Judges also says about this period. The book of Judges is printed in the Bible immediately after the book of Joshua. The task before Joshua was not easy. Although the many little opposition, the many little city kingdoms were weak separately, they were ready to join together to oppose the Israelites. But Joshua trusted in God. Jesus, the divine master who came later on, we see just across the Jordan were several strongly protected twin towns. They could be taken provided the one nearest the river could be destroyed. That is Jericho. Yes. You see, there are so many things that happen, and we see our blessed Lord Jesus Christ in the New Testament being a true reflection of this. Now, first, the first, actually, but the first, of course, the Jordan had to be crossed for everything to move on well. At that time, of the year, the river was in flood because of the melting snow from Mount what? Harmon. We read this in Joshua chapter 3 verse, is it 14? Verse 15. According to the Bible, God did a miracle to let the Israelites cross the river without difficulty. It became a second cross of the Red Sea in the history of what? Of Israel. Priests carrying the ark had to step into the river and the water built up on one side, leaving a dry crossing place. Can you imagine? By the way, history has shown several times how God would have used a natural happening to help the Israelites to cross and also to punish them. I mean, punishing those who did the contrary. The Jordan is narrow and can easily be crossed in many places. Yes. In the dry season, that yellow water at Jericho is only about 30 feet wide. But we read in Joshua 3:15 that there was a lot of water in the river at this time. Several times throughout the history of Palestine, there have been earthquakes along the Jordan Valley, which have sent tons of soil crashing into the river and damming the waters near Jericho for several hours. The valley from Galilee to the Dead Sea falls very sharply. So the lower part below the dam very quickly dried up. Possibly this was what happened when the Israelites crossed the Jordan. Or in a simple explanation, possibly the high waters undermined the large piece of the river bank, forcing the soil into the river by blocking the river for some time. Whatever explanation we can suggest, we definitely know that the river was blocked in some way until the Israelites were able to cross. The waters coming down from above stood and rose up in a heap far off at Adam, the city that is beside Zarethan, and the people passed over opposite Jericho. We read this in Joshua chapter 3 verse 16. And so the years that Israel had spent in the wilderness had been years of grace for the people. Centuries later, Israel remembered this period as the time when, being young, Yahweh tenderly took care of her, yes, guarded her as a people of his eye, protected her as an eagle does its young. Deuteronomy 32:10-11. It was the time when Israel answered God willingly, giving him the devotion of her youth, her love as a bride. Jeremiah chapter 2 verse 2. And now at last Israel stood on the soil which Jacob and his family had left 400 years before, the land which God had promised to Abraham and to them, the descendants of Abraham. It has been a journey through the Bible with Mukhwana Isaac. Tomorrow we shall see Israelites beginning to conquer the land promised to them. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.